In this episode of How I Made It, I'm breaking down a real estate deal I did using my quantum flipping method for an $18,825 profit, which the whole concept of quantum flipping is based on the minimum amount of you needing to be involved in the process of doing real estate deals. In other words, minimum involvement with huge results. So, for today's deal, I did it entirely from my computer. I never met the seller or the buyer. I never even stepped foot inside of the property or been to the city where it's located at. In fact, I was in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil when I did this deal. So, if I can do this while on vacation in another country, then you can do this from anywhere in the world. And the best part of all, I did it without spending any money buying or fixing the property. So, I got in and out of this deal quickly with damn near no risk at all in this deal. If you want to learn more about how you can do these types of deals yourself or do them more consistently, I put a link below this video in the description. You can click it and learn my quantum flipping method from me directly. Look, I'm here to help you do this for yourself, which is why I made this video. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now and follow me on social media for more content on how to do deals easier and with bigger profits using the quantum flipping method. All right, let's get into today's deal and see how I made $18,825.
Okay, this was an off-market lead, which we went direct to seller by reaching out to them with a phone call. I can see the lead type was tagged in the system that it came in from a bankruptcy or a judgment list, okay? Which means the seller should have some motivation. Now, even though it came from this type of list, we still need to qualify the lead and find out if that is the case and some other information that are important factors, which we'll discuss next. So our appointment setter who does the cold calling oftentimes will gather as much of the upfront information for us as possible on their initial cold call, which we want them to get the 4 pillars, meaning we want to know 1, the condition of the property, 2, the reason for selling or the seller's motivation, 3, their time frame to sell, and then 4, the asking price. And normally I'll take it a step further and have them to ask, what if they're flexible on the price or not, okay? And with that, they can hand it off to our acquisitions who will utilize the information to make an offer to the seller and get the property under contract. Okay, so 1, for this lead, the seller basically said the condition of the home had a new roof, new AC, a new heater, and the exterior was recently painted. However, the inside would need to be totally remodeled, which the seller estimated would be around $60,000 to do the repairs. They don't always have a number or know what something might be, but this seller had a little more information than the normal seller. So even though the lead was from a bankruptcy or a judgment list, the seller told us their motivation or their reason for selling is because we called them. So sometimes the seller might not admit it up front what the real reason is for selling, and there could be a small chance that the data had an error. All right, now their time frame for selling was still as soon as possible, which is great. If we can get the numbers to work so that way we don't have to wait a long time to get paid, right? Nobody wants to get paid. Everybody wants to get paid fast. And then 4, finally, for the price, the seller said that they had been thinking about remodeling the property themselves, and if they do, then they would be asking $350,000 to $420,000, somewhere in there once the rehab is done. However, if they sell it as is in the condition that it's in with no rehab being done, then they want $275,000 now. All right, so guys, this is an interesting lead because the data is saying that the motivation should be strong. However, the seller is saying, you called me, just give me a price, and I was planning on doing the renovations myself. I'd spend around $60,000 or so to complete it. So, hey, if you want to buy the property, then you need to be at $275,000 as is, and they'd be ready to move ASAP. So this type of lead doesn't appear to have significant motivation, when we were talking with the seller, because they don't have any pain. They don't have to sell it. Their only motivational factor is price. And that's exactly what my closer experienced on the phone when they called the seller. So the closer now, when they had their call, they knew that they had to treat the lead delicately because the seller isn't selling due to pain. Instead, they're selling for gain. In other words, they don't have to sell. And in fact, The seller, when speaking with my closer, they were acting like they didn't really want to sell at first, but my closer was able to keep the lead alive, and the seller was still willing to sell as soon as possible. However, when it came to the price, they changed up on us from the time that they had the initial cold call, all right, to when they were speaking with our actual closer. Now, on the cold call, they were asking for $275,000 as is. And when they spoke with my closer, they upped the price to $300,000. So don't be surprised if that happens to you, or if it hasn't already happened to you if you're doing deals. And we have tactics and ways to, try getting them back to their previous or lower asking price. And I teach you how to do all this stuff. But in some situations, it doesn't work if the seller is adamant or stuck on their price. And it could be a number of reasons why they up the price. So as much as possible, guys, you want to strike while the iron is hot and before the seller changes their mind or someone else speaks with them and gives them a higher price than what they told us or told you originally. All right. Now, how much did we lock it up for, right? How much did we put it under contract for? I'm sure that's what you want to know. So after running the numbers and negotiating and counter offering a few times with the seller, we ended up putting it under contract for $300,000. Okay. Which when we analyzed this deal using our offer spreadsheet calculator that I previously shared with you in a different video, we knew going into this deal that we were pretty high on our acquisition price, which means that we would be limiting some of our exit strategies here. Okay. And I'll go into more of that later. But for this deal, we wanted to quick flip it to another buyer by just flipping the paperwork over to them for a profit. Okay, so when it came to the dispo process or disposing of the contract, we knew that based on our acquisition's purchase price, that it would be much more challenging for us to quick flip it the traditional way to our buyers list, because the price they would have to buy it from us at and would be much lower than the price that we have it under contract with the seller for. And that's exactly the feedback that we were getting when we reached out to our buyers list to test the water. So this deal, like so many other deals where, you overpay, this would have been a deal that majority of investors would have just cut loose and canceled so they don't lose money. And maybe you do the same thing, but what did we do different in this situation? Well, I previously paid thousands of dollars to learn a little known secret strategy of another way to dispo or sell homes at higher prices than what most investors are able or willing to pay. Okay. This is why I say paying for good information is so valuable. And I'm not talking about the amount I paid to learn the secret strategy. I'm saying it's so valuable because of the amount of money I made from knowing the information and how to utilize it. So yes, I invested a few $1,000s to learn it, but in just this one deal alone, I had already made my money back more than 5 times over. Meaning if I paid $2,500 just to learn that one strategy, and on this deal, I made $18,825. That's more than 7.5 times on just this deal. That's like a 7.5x return on this deal alone. And I've utilized this strategy on multiple deals. So I know I've got a return on my investment more than 10 times over easily. And it wasn't that long ago when I invested to learn the secret strategy. It was less than a year ago. Now, the craziest part about this is how much money I could have made and how much I should have made, but I didn't make. All because I didn't know the secret strategy prior. Now, I easily missed out on multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, guys. And that's no exaggeration. Think about it. If I made close to $50,000 using this one strategy on a couple of deals in the past few months, how many more deals over the past several years have I missed out on doing, all because I didn't know about selling these deals a secret way at a higher price than most other investors are able to buy it at. And we operate in multiple states across the U.S. So how many deals could we have actually done with this one secret strategy I easily missed out on like $400,000 to $600,000, conservatively speaking, probably closer to seven figures. And that's why people say good information is so valuable, not just because of the money you invest for it, but the value you get back from it. Now, the great thing is that I know the strategy now, and I've streamlined it and I've added it as one of the quantum flipping methods. So I know if I missed out on several hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit in deals, then I know if you don't have this strategy for yourself, then you're missing out on a huge amount of money in deals for yourself or for your company. But because I got it, then and you're connected with me, you'll get it. So I'm actually going to make a separate video where I share what the secret strategy is that I'm referring to, and I break it down along with a few other deals that I've done, and I've used it on when all of my normal buyers list said no, they couldn't pay a higher price. All right, so just think, the seller would have sold. Just think if the seller would have sold the property to us for $275,000, like they initially said, then we would have made an extra $25,000 on top, right? Like, meaning I would have made like almost $44,000 on this one deal. That's more than a lot of people make in a whole year at their 9-to-5 job. Okay, so however, I made $18,825, and that's still a great payday considering I would have made $0 if I didn't know this one secret strategy. So if you want to know more about the secret strategy I used to make this $18,825 when all the other buyers said no that were on my buyers list, then just send me a message on IG. I put my Instagram below in the description of this video. And if you want to learn exactly how to do this, like I've done multiple times now, then just click the link in the description and, jump on a call with me and I'll give you the exact blueprint I use to do these deals. Okay. Now, with that said, you're probably still wondering, how did I exit the deal? Well, I still was able to quick flip the property to another buyer by using the quantum flipping method. And what's also great about this deal is I spent $0 buying or repairing the property. That's right. I said I didn't spend any money buying or repairing this property, which pretty much eliminated all my risk for this deal, since I didn't have to make any large financial contributions. Okay. I also never went to visit the property. In fact, I never even been to the city where it's located at. Instead, I had access to the property set up so that the buyer could so that they could see it for themselves one time. And that was it. Easy. Now, that brings us to the last phase of the deal, which is the transaction coordination aspect of getting the deal closed, which I put a copy of the HUD statement here for you to see that we got this deal closed and everything went smooth on this deal. I didn't attend the closing. I actually never attend the closing. In fact, I was in, where was I? I was in Rio de Janeiro, having fun on vacation. And I just sent an email to make sure that we were all set and that the title company wired my money directly to my bank account. So everyone was happy here. The seller got their $300,000. The buyer got a good deal and a nice investment property. I got my $18,825, and the title company made their money for closing the transaction. Everybody won here, and that's the best way to do business. So, you can see the HUD statement, and you can see the wire deposit with the $18,825. And also, look, I wanted to show you a message from the seller. Just a little text message that we had going back and forth. I won't play the recorded call that we had with him thanking me on the call, but there's a message for you there. Now, I almost forgot to mention the buyer for this deal. I never spoke with them on the phone. I did try to reach him a few times in the beginning just to make sure we were on the same page and answer any questions, etc. Just to set some proper expectations like we always do at our company, but they could only text and email. So as crazy as it might sound, they paid $300 and something thousand for this property. I never met or spoke to the buyer on the phone, just some texts and emails. And yeah, it's like that sometimes. Now, I'm also want to show you a message here. This is from the closer at the title company who handled the deal. And guys, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because build good relationships with your title company or the title companies if you're planning on operating in multiple states like me. Now, I can't tell you how important this is to have a good title company that handles your deals the right way. Okay, they will help keep your deals together and they'll have your back too. We actually interview our title companies via phone before we work with them. So via phone or via email is fine. And we make sure that they can handle and will handle our deals the way we like. And if you want to know what that conversation sounds like or looks like, just let me know. We actually have some basic scripted questions we ask them just to make sure that they can meet our criteria. And if you need this, just reach out to me, okay? Of course, if you're in the Quantum Flipping Blueprint program, you get all of this stuff, okay? So you actually get everything that I'm talking about here that I use to get my deals done. So all my processes, strategies, tools, resources, documents, and even the relationships that took me, years to build. As a Blueprint member, you get all of it, okay? So
Remember, if I can do it, then anybody can do it once they have the blueprint. It's not rocket science, guys. It's quantum flipping. So if you want to work smarter and not harder by learning the quantum flipping method to be able to do consistent real estate deals of up to 5 or 6 figures yourself, then click the link in the description or go to learnquantumflipping.com and I'll give you the exact blueprint I use to do these deals. I'll see you soon for the next episode of How I Made It, where I'm breaking down a deal where I made $33,811. See you soon.